What's going on, you guys? Oh my God, we got an intense thing going on with Karmelo Anthony, and all we could do is pray. You know what I mean? That's all we could do is pray. We only thing we could do is pray that. And I'm just gonna, like I said, when I go through these videos, I watch them for the first time just as well. I see that you guys are coming in. Let me go on and share out the live. Let's get comfortable. Let's be on here for a little bit today, and I'll come back on tonight for sure. As long as I don't have work, you know how it goes with me, up and down. But I truly thank you guys for. Here we go. Shout out to X. Shout out to Gossip Column on TikTok. Shout out to Erica Trinell page. That's my slogan all the time. We have to get it out to the people. Like, we have to do something different, you guys. We got to make things better. You know what I mean? For our kids, for the future grandkids, you know? Gossip Colin, you guys be in here. Y'all be in the building. X, y'all definitely be in the building. Thank you for all the support that you give. I do shout people out on the chat. Recognize that you're liking the platform. Please share the platform because we finna dig in. You know what I mean? We're finna dig in because enough is enough. That's just how it works. And until we understand that, I'm on all major platforms for sure. Let's get it, you guys. Let's see what's going on with Karmelo Anthony. She gave a little snippet, but I've been trying to get it.
Good afternoon. It's the Fit Lawyer ATL, and we are live. I am boots on the ground outside of the Collin County Courthouse today for the Karmelo Anthony motion for new trial. We are currently on a lunch break. There's a helicopter out here, so I'm sorry if you hear that in the background, but we are currently on a lunch break now until 1:30. We are on Central Standard Time here, so we're out in the parking lot. Just kind of want to give you all an update. We've only heard one witness testify so far. So I did a great live on this last night. So check it out on the channel so you can get an understanding of what's going on in this motion for new trial. But Karmelo's new defense team filed this motion on July 7th. They are raising arguments that when Judge Roach, who has been recused from the case, restricted entry into the courtroom by issuing this order that he issued that limited how many media could come into the courtroom, how many seats were going to be for family. I think it left like 27 seats for the public. Like, when that amended order was issued and put those restrictions in place, the defense is arguing that the law called Waller versus Georgia and Presley versus Georgia, that they require the court to put certain findings on the record. And they are saying that those findings are not there. So a lot of people, when this first came out, they're like, oh, it was a public trial. It wasn't a closure. People got to come in. Y'all are, the people who support Karmelo or anybody that's making that argument that it was a closure, they were calling us all, names and saying that we were stupid. Well, guess what? The state and the defense this morning stipulated and agreed that there was a closure. There was a closure. Whenever there is restrictions put in place, that is categorized as a closure. It could be partial, it could be full, but in this case, it was partial. It was put in place, and then that triggers Waller. The Waller case, we broke this down in the lab last night. It requires that there be an overriding interest that's talked about as to why you're going to put this closure in place. It requires that overriding interest be put on the record. Also, what's required is that the closure can't be too broad, right? So if your only reason you want to close it is because you want to protect a certain type of witness, then you can't just close it all to the public. You have to do something narrow enough to address your overriding interest. Also, you have to consider reasonable alternatives. You have to put this on the record as well to see if you determined if you could do something else. Like today, there is an overflow room with audio and video feed. For the trial, for the first 2 days at voir dire, there was audio feed and video feed to this ceremonial overflow room they use that holds 150 people that would have allowed more of the public to come in. It was open for the first 2 days of the trial, but then when trial testimony started, it was closed. No hearing, no reasoning put on the record or anything, and that is a requirement of Waller. And so in all of these findings and considerations have to be placed on the record. A prime example, it happened this morning. So we have a new judge on this case. He hasn't done anything in this Karmelo Anthony case until today. He was appointed by the administrative judge yesterday as Judge Michael Chitty out of Kaufman County. He's a retired judge. He's been retired since 2020, but retired judges come back and do things for hearings all the time. So that's not, unusual. So he was placed on this case just yesterday. And yesterday, the defense filed a motion asking for the judge, whatever judge was going to be hearing the hearing today, to allow for an overflow room and to allow for live audio feed streamed out to the public. Well, the judge considered it, and in the order that he issued, because it was a proposed order presented, so it was already typed up, there was a line, I believe it was paragraph 7, that stated that there would be a live feed to the public, where he crossed that out and initialed it. Guess what? This morning, he did his Waller findings on the record. He had Russell Schaefer come in, who is the public information officer for these set of hearings in the case now, come in, swear himself under oath, and stand before the court and explain why the judge denied having the live stream to the public, and they just need more time. They need at least 2 weeks to set up a live stream to the public, and that request wasn't made until yesterday for this hearing, so that's why it was denied. But that is what Waller requires. You have to put these findings on the record. And Russell Wilson, he opens up first because this is his defense motion. And he says, Judge, Waller requires exactly what you did today. You came in, the Judge Chitty's on this case. He came in, he introduced himself. He said, I've been practicing for, I think he said 22 years. He was a judge. He talked about he's coming from Kaufman County, and he called the record of the case in and got started. So, he's very official, no nonsense. I can tell you that Russell Wilson and Bill Werski, the DA, met with the judge prior to the hearing started. So there was a slight delay to the hearing starting. But once it started, the judge was right handling business. So he's doing the Waller findings. He's bringing this person in. And what Russell stood up and said, Judge, what you just did didn't happen in this case. It was so many off the record things. Russell Wilson labels it a shadow docket. He says they operate this case on a shadow docket, meaning that there are no pretrial filings or anything filed into the actual record of the court. They were just sent over emails or hand delivered to each other, because once the judge issued the gag order, July 28th of 2025, he didn't want any of that stuff getting out. They say that the state says that they were receiving a lot of death threats against Karmelo Anthony, against themselves. Like, everybody involved in this case was receiving threats. The judge that lowered Karmelo Anthony's bond from $1 million to $250,000, that judge was doxxed and her information put out, and it was all these threats. And there's actually somebody in jail now in Idaho for threatening her. So this was like a lot of threats, something that they had never dealt with before. And so they acted off of the docket to keep people from getting hold to things and showing up, where Russell Wilson argues that that goes against the Sixth Amendment. Everything has to be public, not just the trial. Even pretrial hearings, motions, they're supposed to be docketed so that the public can attend. And when you don't do it, you have to put these findings on the record. And they went so far as even to argue that the defendant's right to be present at hearings was violated, because Karmelo literally got a bond and then he showed back up to trial. He never came to court at all. He didn't come to court for not one pretrial hearing. He didn't come to court to put the gentleman's agreement on the record. Karmelo Anthony bonded out and did not walk back into this courthouse until, they walked him back in to do a buccal swab. And then he showed back up to trial. Unbeknownst to the public, they, snuck him in a back entrance and everything. They had a warrant to do it, but they were swapping his DNA. Outside of that, he never came back into this courthouse until he came for trial. That is unheard of in any criminal case, and very much unheard of in a murder case. You have pretrial hearings. You have hearings because there was talk about this extrinsic evidence. And y'all, if you've been following any of my coverage about this case, I told y'all they had something on Karmelo off of that cell phone, and that came out today. So Russell Wilson. So let me go back to the first argument about the public trial. Honestly, it looks like the defense is winning that argument. They put out how the law requires, what it requires. And I'm sorry if y'all hear this buzz in the background, but it's hot, so I got this fan on. So they put all of that on the record, and then they show how it doesn't exist in this case. And when Bill Worski jumped up to do his opening, and I'll go through more play-by-play later on this evening, but he never argued back legally about the Waller findings. Not one time did he say, Judge, on this order, here are our Waller findings. No, he couldn't, because they don't exist. He basically spent that time arguing that they acted the way they did and everybody was in agreement for it because they were trying to protect and save Karmelo. And that even though he didn't say it, but it's coming off like, we may not have followed the rules, but we did it to save Karmelo. Judge, you have to understand that everything happened in this case because of the threats, and that everything we were trying to do to save Karmelo. He never, not once, spoke to the actual order and the law and said, Judge, we did follow Waller. He jumped up. He started off very defensive, and this is Bill Worski, the DA. He was very defensive that anybody would even suggest that the DA's office doesn't understand the Waller factors. And of course we understand the Waller factors. And he went into all of these reasons they understand it, and they have these appeals attorneys. But not one time did he say, Judge, on the record, we did follow it. He didn't say it because it didn't happen. He does say, and they speak about this proposed order that they typed up that the state sent to the defense of Waller findings that they were supposed to sign and place on the record, but it never got signed and it never got filed into the record. And besides, it's too late because you were supposed to do that at the time you decided on the closures, which was before the trial started, not sign a document bootstrapping your Waller findings after the trial is over. So Bill says, Worski says in his argument, Karmelo switched attorneys as soon as the verdict came down. So that's why the order didn't get signed, as if, Judge, like, you should, fine for us on that point. Like, we did prepare an order, but no, it's not part of the record. So they didn't present a legal argument to the defense's first argument. The defense's first argument is a structural error argument. So if the judge agrees, that will overturn Karmelo's conviction and get him a new trial. So we shall see. The second argument, the gentleman's agreement, Bill Worski spoke to that in his opening. He says that Karmelo Anthony had a lot of damaging evidence on his cell phone. And I've told y'all on every live when I've talked about this that I knew that it was information on the cell phone. Every time I have a criminal case, no matter how good the child looks, they're young, they have stuff on their cell phone. So what Bill says
Okay, she's gonna allude to, he said something about messages about licking blood off the knife, something like that. Him and his girlfriends alluded to breaking up. We don't even know if it's true. However, right, what does that have to do with them approaching him? Like, make some sense of that.
This is Worski says, the DA, and I can't say that this is 100% fact because no testimony has been brought out about it yet. But he says, so allegedly, Karmelo Anthony had broken up with his girlfriend. I don't know at what point, but before this incident occurred, and that the girlfriend on the morning of the incident at 8:30 a.m. reported to an assistant principal that she was concerned about Karmelo's mental state. He wasn't handling the breakup well. He wasn't taking no for an answer.
Oh, girl, stop. My thing is, why she didn't contact his parents? Y'all, and then the girl is on the internet repping Karmelo. So what are we talking about?
And she was concerned. 3 hours later, he stabs Austin at this track meet. So they're saying that there were text messages on his phone that also showed that he had a knife, talked about why he had a knife, that he was itching to stab someone, that he had messages on his phone saying that he fantasized about using the knife, stabbing someone and licking the blood off the knife. There was now this is all that Bill Worski is saying in his opening. So we haven't seen proof of that. It hasn't been admitted to evidence, but this is what he is saying are the things that Karmelo had on his phone that they offered this agreement so they could keep it out. What else was it on the phone? Just they said it was that he from things on his phone and different videos and stuff that they felt like he was itching to get in a fight, like he was very aggressive, like he was just looking to get into a fight. They said he was reeling is how they defined it, and said that on that morning he was losing control and basically whoever could have gotten it was going to get it. And so that we haven't seen any evidence of that. This is just what Bill Worski was saying in his opening statement about the gentleman's agreement. So he says, trial's coming up. He's the one that offered the agreement. He's like, I know that they're preparing like we are, and we have bad stuff as well. I know Austin had been arrested as a juvenile for racist graffiti, as well as them being known bullies and other stuff. However, because he's a victim of the case, Bill Worski felt like a lot of that stuff wouldn't even come in anyway at trial. So he felt like he had leverage at that point to make this trial as simple as possible. So he reaches out to Mike Howard, offers Mike Howard this gentleman's agreement so that they could try the case clean, keep out all the bad stuff they have about Karmelo, and they would keep out all the stuff about Austin. They wouldn't cross-examine any witnesses. So, a lot of people, when they watch the trial, they're like, why isn't the defense coming back and saying, but didn't you say this previously? But didn't you make this statement? And all of that was kept out through the gentleman's agreement. So once they entered the agreement, they then went through each witness's testimony to talk about what they couldn't bring in during the trial. So that was all part of the gentleman's agreement. And Bill Worski says that is the reason why the blow up came, because not one time that they had these discussions, when they discussed other witnesses' testimony, they never discussed Karmelo's testimony and what he could or could not say and what could be brought in. That whole discussion about that didn't occur until everything blew up on that Monday of the trial. So that was that 2-hour delay. And y'all stay tuned, share, like, and subscribe to the channel, because I will do a full blow-by-blow, word-for-word breakdown later on this evening. But we are on a short lunch break, so I just want to kind of jump in and bring that. That's pretty much the trial. There has been a lot of mudslinging going on. There has been so much that Bill Worski is putting on a performance, and Bill Worski has been putting on quite the show, and he has laid out all the stops. He's trying to get ahead of basically what Mike Howard said in his affidavit. He was trying to sling as much mud onto Karmelo Anthony as possible. And Karmelo Anthony's parents, when he was saying some of the stuff, they were looking like, huh? Like, when did that happen? So it's interesting to find out what's true, what's not. But I'm going to give you guys a very full, detailed live later. I'm just going to go over. Okay. And let me know if you guys can hear me. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully the sound is good. But let's get into it. So early in the morning when we first got here, we lined up down at the end of the courthouse, and they had the lot closed off. So I don't think they're gonna hear me if I'm back there.
I got you.
Okay. So we lined up at the edge of the courthouse. Now, when we lined up, it was several people ahead of me. It was me, and then it was somebody that was here with me for security, which you see back here. And as we were lined up, we see Sippy walking up. So as he walked up, my security just, turned this way, and Sippy walked up. So he comes and he's looking at him, and he's like, dude, you just need to turn around. Like, why you looking this way? You need to turn around. And then he's just standing there looking at him, and then he's like, oh, you racist, you nothing but a racist. And then he looks over to make sure that the sheriffs are right there. And then he goes up and tries to get a reaction. But that's just what they do. Then there was Janetta, I think her name's Janetta Bradley, who enhanced the audio with the CETO call. She was there. Her wife and her saw that was Sippy, and they addressed some of the foul stuff that he had been doing to them. So it was a whole big old kit and caboodle in the morning. So tensions were very high. When we came into the courthouse, we lined up, we waited for hours to get in the courtroom. Once we went inside of the courtroom, we were all seated. Jeff Metcalf was standing up, and there were several people in the courtroom that had purple in solidarity for Karmelo. And you could see Jeff Metcalf like turning around to the people that was in the row behind him and looking them up and down, mad dogging them, like looking around. It was just a whole, they was feeling themselves today, honey. And so as we're sitting there, we're waiting for the judge to come out. It took some time in the morning. I think it was like 30 minutes or more that we were sitting there waiting for the judge. They were trying to make sure that some of the witnesses that were going to be testifying was going to be here. And there was like a little bit of a delay with like some technical issues. So the morning got off to like a little bit of a late start. But once the morning started, the judge came in. He introduced himself. He said that he was from Kaufman County. He was letting them know that, you know, he's here to preside over the case in a short notice, and that it was Russell and the prosecution that they decided that before the proceeding started, they both wanted to do an opening statement. So Russell Wilson did his opening statement, and then he was just basically going over all of the points that he wanted to get the judge to understand on why he wants this motion granted. He went over the different claims that he had in his motion and why he believes that there was a violation on all three, and why he believes that it should be granted. Now, when it was time for Bill Werski to come up and say, you know, his opening statement, it was more of a mudslinging rather than addressing the arguments for why he decided for a motion for new trial. Bill Werski basically took it as an opportunity to sling as much dirt on Karmelo, sling as much dirt on some of the influencers that are watching the case. He called out people like Tiffany Billions, and then it just was a whole show. Now, one of the things that came out that he was so adamant to get out was some of the bad character things for Karmelo Anthony. So he says that, you know, although to like the public and everybody else, it may look like, you know, that the defense with the agreement, the gentleman's agreement, was them fighting with two hands behind their back. But actually, he says that they only have one hand tied behind their back because the agreement actually benefited them. And they were doing a favor because of the bad character evidence that they had on Karmelo. Now, I'm going to pause for a second to make sure you guys can hear me clearly. Make sure you guys are in the building. Also, make sure to like the video, hype the video, share the video. And we are out here, as you can see, at the courthouse with a lot of support. And we are boots on the ground. Now, you can go to different media outlets to get sound bites, but we are boots on the ground, and I'm letting you guys know what's going on inside the courtroom, what's happening behind the scenes. So if you would like to support my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. I have a Cash App, which is Neek at Night Media. You can also show support by sending a super chat if you would like, etc., and so on and so forth. But now let's get back into some of the things that, and actually, let me back up. So one of the things that Russell Wilson wanted to point out was the fact that there was all of these hidden things that was happening. It wasn't just the gentleman's agreement. There was all of these off the record things that was happening. There was so many procedural things that were supposed to go on the record that just naturally they hid from the record. And when Bill Werski got up, he was like, off the record, that's what we do in Texas. That's nothing out of the ordinary. That's just something that we do out here or whatever. And we all was looking like, oh, interesting, you know.
but he was full of performance and theater. It was more of a theater show on his behalf than actually arguing the arguments. It was like, let me sling as much mud on these influencers, let me sling as much dirt as I can, etc. So also, one of the things that he also wanted to say was, oh, the gag order that they put in place, the restrictions that they put in place, he wanted to say that, oh, this was because of the benefit of Karmelo. Like, we were looking out for him. We didn't want some racist to come from out of town and kill him. So we made sure that we, didn't put in certain things because we didn't want to light the flame on social media. And there were several death threats on both sides. The Metcalf family had death threats. The Anthony family had death threats. And we didn't want to pour gasoline on that or whatever. And he was basically saying that the reason why he didn't come in on things that he was supposed to be a part of, agreements that he was supposed to be a part of, is because they were carefully considering his statement. So Russell Wilson was going over all of the situations that was happening throughout the trial that he was supposed to be a part of. And they were like, well, we were taking his safety serious. We didn't want some racist to come in and kill him. And it worked. Everything that we did worked because here he is. He's alive. He's safe. He's not dead. And what we did worked. All of that worked. And I was just like, interesting. So when Russell Wilson later decided to bring it up, he said, well, they're talking about all of these threats, all of these death threats that people are having, all of these things that people are saying. And he's like, well, how many convictions or prosecutions arose from these death threats? Did anybody get prosecuted for it? Did anybody go to jail? All of these people are supposedly threatening all of these people, but there's zero convictions for any of it. You had a year of people threatening people, sending in threats, and nobody got arrested, nobody got prosecuted. And that's supposed to be something that was in the best interest or safety. And then he was like, surely if you would have arrested somebody and prosecuted them, that would have let people know that you're not taking this, you're not gonna just take it that people are threatening people, etc. So it was a lot of going back and forth with what each party wanted to say. Now, he also talked about how the immediate threats started with the victim's family, and he said, oh, and we were even getting threats because people were calling us racist for simply prosecuting the case. And then he said that the other side was feeling the same heat. Then he brought up Judge Angela Tucker, and then he said when she cut the bond from $1 million to $250,000, she got the most vile racist threats. And then he said even another woman with the same name, Angela Tucker in McKinney, she got doxxed and her address was exposed. He said then you have all of these influencers, these disruptors that try to monetize murder so they can get clicks. They monetize misinformation. To our credit, we were warned about Mr. Anthony. We were worried about Mr. Anthony. To the reason he didn't come to court, we didn't have him come to court because we wanted to protect him. And then he said, that's when he said the thing about the racists coming into town or whatever. And then he talked about how they didn't want to transmit anything or put any files on the record because they didn't want anybody to leak any information. And it was so sensitive because they didn't want people to leak anything for their safety. Then he said that this is a stabbing that happened at a high school. And he says a lot of the witnesses were high school students. He said that their parents were so concerned about them testifying because they saw that the judge had been doxxed. They saw all of the violent threats, and their parents didn't want anything to do with this case for their kids. He said that the internet disruptors and influencers tried to doxed all of the boys that went to the football team and put their pictures on their social media pages. He said that, so basically then he came back and said, this is more than about some person in Cincinnati who didn't get a seat. We were worried about Melo, and we're still worried about him. What happened needed to happen. And you will see all of that stuff. We did work, and we got a fair trial, and no racist came to take his life. All right. So then he talks about how Christopher King, who is a guy who has been coming up here and he's been online speaking about the case. He talks about how he said, and then some guy named Christopher King, who says he's a lawyer but didn't pass the bar, he just kept fouling things. And Mr. Jackson, I guess the PIO, he wasn't aware of he was saying that Derek Jackson, the PIO that got fired because he gave out the court schedule, he said, well, he just wasn't aware that he was on our radar. And then he said that as a result, Christopher getting the trial schedule, that Derek Jackson, the previous PIO, was fired from his job. And then he said that there was so much bad act information on Karmelo. He said, let's talk about the agreement. The agreement was my idea. Toby Shook is one of my best friends. Why did Karmelo Anthony, he's like, one of the biggest questions was, why did Karmelo Anthony bring a knife to a track meet? He said, the state knows why he took a knife. It's in the 404 evidence. He said 8:30 a.m. that day, his girlfriend went to school, and she went and she told, I don't know if he said a principal or a counselor. At 8:30 a.m. that day, his girlfriend went to school, and she said that she was worried that he was going to do something, that Karmelo broke up with her, and he's now stalking her, and he's scaring her, and she was worried about, stabbing or whatever. Then they said that there was a text message from Karmelo where he said, I'm low-key on the verge. He said he was spiraling because his girlfriend broke up with him. He is obsessed about knives and stabbing and murder. He fantasized about stabbing somebody and licking the blade. He had a desire to start fights. And with a knife, he said, we did our research. He likes to fight. His parents put him in a program for kids who like to fight and can't keep their hands to themselves. I knew I had this leverage. He said, we didn't, wait. Oh, he said, we didn't want people murdered behind this trial. They said, well, as you can see, and then he pointed to the other side. He was like, as you can see, they did their research on Austin Metcalf. He's like, yes, when he was, I think he said 17 or whatever, he said, yes, he did do racist graffiti with foul racist stuff. He said, if we have an open pretrial with this, it will pour fuel on the fire. So I offered this agreement of what happened under the tent, and to keep everything streamlined to what happened under the tent that day. He said there was a reason we had thousands of jurors, but only streamlined it down to 90. He says the father, he was talking about Drew Anthony, has a relationship with Tiffany Billions, and it would have leaked out. We got through this trial with protesters, and our police allowed people to exercise freedom of speech without mass arrest. What happened under the tent was enough for us. We ran a risk, but the values of the agreement was to keep it out of character, and it would have ran down on him. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. We never talked about testifying witness. So then they got into the part where Mike Howard said that they kind of switched up when it was time for him to testify. And then he says oh, well, yeah, we made all these agreements for protection, but we didn't ever think that he was ever going to testify. So we never got into the particulars of what would happen if he testified. And we would have loved him to testify, because that would have been the cherry on top to what he said, that would have been the cherry on top to like nail him. And I'm just paraphrasing. And then he said that all of the bad character evidence that they had on him would have resulted in him getting a much longer sentence. So they did him a favor, basically, by having this gentleman's agreement. And then he said that they worked through it and they had an agreement and it holds. He said in the case if they would have wanted him to testify. And then after that, we went on like a 10-minute break. After we went on break, then Jared Jackson, the former PIO, he came and he was the first witness. So basically what happened was anybody who wanted media credentials, you had to go through the public information officer. And so one of the things also was his duty to give the public information regarding the case. Well, basically the Associated Press wrote him and asked for the trial schedule. And he gave the Associated Press the first 4 days trial schedule. He said his motto was that whatever information he gives to one person, if another person asked for it, he would give it to them. Like he didn't differentiate between who could get the access, who could get the information. And after that, he said he was fired. He got called into a meeting with he said Bill Worski contacted him once he found out that Christopher King had this information. He said after that, Bill Worski asked to speak to his boss, and then his boss called him and told him that he had to report to the court the next day. When he went to the court, he said Judge Roach basically like chewed him out for 6 minutes straight. He threatened that he would put him in jail for 6 months or throw him in contempt of court. Derek Jackson said he thought that he would have the opportunity to like tell his side, like I didn't do anything wrong. Like the Associated Press asked for it, I gave it to them, and he asked for it, and I thought like there was not a bad thing to give out like how like what times like things are gonna happen. And he said that he was emotional, he was crying, he was shedding tears. He said like he thought that he was gonna have to go to jail. He said that they were like, well, did you think that you were gonna have to go in jail for like 6 months? And he was like, well, I didn't think I would have to go to jail for 6 months, but I did think that I would go to jail. And I was trying to work through that, how that's gonna work with my family, how that's gonna work if they put me in jail. And then he said that after Judge Roach chewed him out for 6 minutes straight, he didn't have the ability to defend himself or say anything. He left out, and his boss handed him a yellow manila folder. And when they handed him a yellow manila folder, it was basically like, you're fired. And he said that was the last time he was ever at Collin County. And that was the last time that he ever showed up here. There was so much other stuff. He called out Gerald from the NCB. He said that, do you know why we were strict in vetting the people who came here? He talked about how, do you know the NCB, some guy from the NCB, he said, do you know records for him? He said, he was arrested for sending in bomb threats. And I believe he's in the audience. He's in the back row or whatever. And then he was like, so these are the things that we're dealing with. We have to basically figure out who's credible and who's not, who's bad actors and who's not. And, he kept trying to sling mud on different influencers. He was slinging mud on Tiffany Billions. He was just slinging mud on certain people. And I was wondering, you're calling out all these people. When are you going to call out Sarah Fields? That bitch did the most egregious stuff during this trial, doxing people. She went out of her way to make everybody who was any part of this case life a living hell. And you don't hear him mention her not once, but you understand why, though. They got this code where they protect their own. And Russell Wilson was like, when it was time for him to talk, he said, so it was okay for you to give the schedule to the Associated Press, and that wasn't violating the gag order. But if you gave it to Christopher King, that was violation. So you had to discriminate on who get the information. It was going down. We are on break. I'm super hot. I'm going to catch y'all later. Stay tuned to my live that I do after the closing, and I will catch y'all on anything. Make sure to hit the like button. hit the hype button. I am bringing you guys all of the information.
Ooh, y'all, they are slanging mud up in that camp, right? They are slanging mud, but
order. So that's where we are right now, y'all. We have had just openings and one witness testify, and that is Derrick Jackson, who was the
you guys, honestly, right? That's all they know how to do. They don't know how to put on a case. They don't know how to do a lot of things, right? They will mudslang and they go off in emotions, emotions to win a case. They don't go by law anymore. That stuff is out of the bucket now. I think this lady right here. I will go to the judge and case for trial. Okay, I wonder how long that's gonna last, y'all. I wonder how long that. I wonder. Okay, I'm tripping. I need to find out. Nolan is all over this camp. We trying to get Karmelo Anthony right now. Creepy mask. I don't know. Blueface, y'all got to get off my timeline right now. We got some serious shit going on, bro. Y'all can work on. Y'all can come on the weekend. You know what I mean? Who was it? Let me see what he got to say, y'all. Thank you for liking. Thumbs up. 17.
A new judge has been assigned in the Karmelo Anthony case. Put it up full mass. As you recall, we provided coverage to this story where a young African-American man.
Hello, 1 second. I want to see what's going on today. It say 10 hours ago. I ain't even care about 10 hours ago. I'm talking about what's going on now.
Covering that we was talking about earlier today. So there is a new judge that's going to be appointed in the Karmelo Anthony case. So kind of the backstory with this before we get into the interview. Earlier this summer, Karmelo Anthony.
Why are they talking about what happened yesterday? Why are we not talking about what's going on like right now? Like right now. Why are we not? What is going on? 7 months ago. Why do they show all this old stuff? I got to see what's going on my YouTube. Okay, Karmelo Anthony. I don't. Let me see what she got going on her live.
Defense attorney Wilson shared text message from 2021 that the state wanted to present as evidence from Karmelo Anthony's phone that include conversation with his girlfriend. Okay, so maybe this is what Mike Howard was trying to hide. In 2023, text messages indicated Anthony was In 2022, text messages indicate Anthony was jumped by every senior because he called a person a derogatory term. In a text message from 2024 with his girlfriend, Anthony said he would lick blood off the blade. There were many incidences on both sides. Early in the case, they were leaked from documents. There was a concern anything in writing that could end up with the public hand. If you put it in writing and it gets leaked and reported, what's good is the agreement if it gets leaked. At this point, the verbal agreement, Mike Howard said. Okay, so if Karmelo Anthony said this, he said it. But guess when he said it, though? He didn't say it for the current girlfriend. He said it 2 years ago. But still, I still don't have the context. He would lick the blood off the blade.
Probably at fighting somebody like
is that it? No, but nothing else to it.
He was like they say he was getting jumped. He may have said, "I'll do this," and then lick the blood. And they trying to cut it off. They got to give you the whole substance to it. So it's substance.
But to the trolls that came in, he said Karmelo Anthony would lick blood off the blade. Okay, he said it, but 2 years ago. But what that got to do with anything? But okay, he said he would lick blood off the blade. I've seen people do. Now I don't do no stuff like that. But hey, If Karmelo Anthony said it, he said it. Okay.
Well, literally, he's not saying he will do that. He's probably saying if they do him something again, this is what he would do.
Let's see here. Okay, let's go up. Let's go. 1 hour and 14 minutes. The attorney Mike Howard led the defense team for Karmelo Anthony trial. He said he brought on attorney he never should have. He never should have. Oh, why I keep jumping? Why I keep jumping? Must be updating, y'all. Mike Howard. Let me just highlight it so it don't jump. Mike Howard led the defense attorney for Karmelo Anthony. He said he brought on the attorney Toby Shook as co-counsel because Shook has had known lead prosecutor for a while, a long time. The first time there was a serious discussion about the gentleman's agreement, Whiskey allegedly brought it up to Shook as an idea. Well, we already know that the prosecution said that he did. Let's see here. Working out the terms of the gentleman's agreement, attorney Mike Howard said the discussion between the prosecution, Bill Whiskey, and defense attorney Toby Shook was heated at times. I told y'all they wanted to fight. They wanted to fight as they come to an agreement on how the gentleman agreement would work. They wanted to fight. They talked about trying the case based only on what happened under the moral intent. Both sides wanted the case to be tried without opening the door. Howard agreed and said both sides acknowledged that it would be impossible to go through every scenario and both would operate in good health. Why are they still not talking about the second wound? They discussed that the word students used on the day of the stabbing. Hold on. I want to, whoa. Hold on. They discussed that the wounds that the words student used on the day of the stabbing in their statements to the police would be okay to bring up. Your impressions was that Anthony would be able to testify. Wilson asked. Yes, because if he was talking about what happened to Tent, he was just as covered as every other witness. He recalled a discussion whether they decided either side through the door, open or close, would bring it up. Judge John Roach was concerned because the deal was so unusual, but they agreed that if the door was open, the opposing party would be able to use some character information that otherwise would not have been admissible. Okay. 45 minutes ago, on why Karmelo Anthony didn't testify. On the final day of trial, prosecution Bill Whiskey allegedly told defense attorney Toby Shook that the deal did not cover Karmelo Anthony testifying. Do y'all see this? Whiskey also accused defense attorney Mike Howard of opening door statements by mentioning Anthony was a member of the chess club. Howard said they never talked about whether whether Anthony testimony would be included in the deal, and he was shocked to learn that it wasn't even given a discussion of what under the tent meant. Everybody knows to have a shot at self-defense, the defendant needs to testify to answer questions about the state of mind. He recalls a heated argument with yelling in the judge's chamber. Didn't I tell y'all they was about to fight? I told you they was about to fight. Mike Howard and Bill Whiskey. They were frustrated and angry. We were frustrated and angry. We needed a cooling off period. Mike Howard wrote this in the affidavit, the cooling off period. We could not have a productive discussion. He said, no time in my career have I needed a cooling off period after a conversation in the judge's chamber. Judge John Roach asked both sides to come to agreement that covered Anthony testifying. Howard said he would have to show all of his cards if he wanted Anthony to testify. I thought chess opening the door was absurd, so outrageous, it made me worry if Karmelo testifying, what small thing would open the door? That affected my, Anthony's, and the entire trial team's decision. He said they had 10 to 30 minutes to talk with Anthony about whether he should testify. It was not good enough to fully discuss what he could and what he could not testify about. I told y'all 16 minutes ago. Let me do a refresh. Okay. 25 minutes ago. Okay. Mike Howard, this was an hour ago. Y'all, they still in the courtroom, y'all. This is going beyond the courtroom. So we already talked about why Karmelo.
Y'all, this is going down. They fighting up in that courtroom, y'all. They and according to the young lady, I forgot her name, right? She is saying that they are going that say the prosecution has not spoke on law or nothing. They're trying to make like the reason why they needed XYZ is because immediately after he said that he did something to somebody. When this lady right here just said it was 2 years ago. Like these people just be lying back and forth. Like the substance to that, they say he was getting beat up by every senior for saying something or whatever it is, right? And they got to give me substance, y'all. They gotta don't put something out without something behind it, because young people will say anything that sound cool. You get what I'm saying? Not that is right, but they'll say anything that sound cool. Like I want to know what happened that day. I'm sick of all this character flaws. Oh, they could talk about you wrote something 7 months ago. You plotting up. Law is supposed to be about what happened, what led up to that. Because you could unalive 10 people, but you could be charged with something on the 11th thing and you did nothing because you did something to 10 people. I gotta convict you of that. That makes no sense. This gotta stop.
Anthony didn't testify. Mike Howard been on the stand about 3 hours, 57 minutes ago. So this when we came in. It was at around 16 minutes at that time. So Mike Howard has been on the stage on the witness stand another 40 minutes. Let me see if there's an update, y'all.
Damn.
Oh my gosh, Vessels, thank you for sticking with me.
Wow.
We are getting updates that we did not. I never thought. Let's see here. I never thought we would have got this on the same day. Still no update, y'all. They are still in the courtroom. There is no update. They still in the courtroom. Now look at CBS News 34 minutes ago. New details and troubling backgrounds revealed in Karmelo Anthony. Oh, hey, maybe they're going to talk about the twins. So I'm going to pull this up next. Mike Howard cross-examined. Oh, no. Oh, no. No. Hold on. Do not panic. It was Fox 4. Don't panic. It was Fox 4. Here we go. God is good. All the time, God is good. That's why I call out my sources. Cross-examination. 27 minutes ago. So this is live reporting. Oh, somebody's in there typing, y'all. This is what's going on. Somebody's in there typing. Whiskey and Bill agreed that they both assumed Karmelo Anthony would testify about the blank being a self-defense. I know Whiskey lied. I brought up the idea of the gentleman's agreement to have a fair trial, keep the noise down, try to keep it about what happened under the tent. You're lying. The idea of an agreement had value on both sides. Yo, we getting stuff in real time. I gotta rest. Howard said Anthony was very prepared to testify in his own defense and would have done well, but after all the yelling, he felt like he didn't have a choice. Any defense attorney knows the number one witness is always the defendant in self-defense. Yes, Nancy Grace. Every Memorial student who was friends of Austin and Hunter supported them. If the jury had heard from Karmelo, I think we had a real shot of defense. I think so too. Because Karmelo Anthony would have told exactly what Hunter and Austin did to him, not just Austin, and what they said to him, since they love to use the word N-word. They love the N-word. All right, 2 minutes ago, y'all. Listen to this. 2 minutes ago, was Karmelo Anthony afraid to testify? Prosecutor Bill Whiskey accused Karmelo Anthony of being afraid to testify because he didn't. That's a lie. Oh, that's a lie. We already know this. Did I break every word? Hold on. Did I ever break my word to you, Mr. Whiskey? Asked defense attorney Mike Howard. Mike Howard is on the stands today. I can't know what's in a person's heart, Mike Howard replied. I don't know how you can say everything under the tent and never contemplate a testifying defendant. Do you think I want him to testify? Do you think I wanted him to testify? Whiskey said. I think you wanted to cross-examine him. Ooh. Ooh. Did y'all see what Mike Howard did? Did y'all see? Do you know what Mike Howard just hit? Do you understand what Mike Howard just hit Bill Whiskey with when he said, do you think I wanted him to testify? Mike Howard said, I think you wanted to cross-examine him. What Mike Howard is saying, Whiskey, you didn't want him to testify to tell exactly what happened under the tent. You just wanted him to get on the stand so you can cross-examine him. Oh, Bill Whiskey, Mike Howard just ate him up. Listen. And I can't believe the Vesta left. So was that really a true Vesta that got upset?
Y'all, Mike Howard is fighting for his license. That's what he's doing right now. He's like, they did put him in a corner, and we got agitated with it. So yeah, we got agitated with him, but they put him in a corner. They did that. They screwed him up, but he should have been a seasonal attorney. And I think he got so in a corner or whatever that was, and then the judge was not being allegedly, like, he was like being biased in a sense. You know what I mean? So
when I was giving Mike Howard this much credit, Mike Howard is on the witness stand telling it all. I can't believe that Vesta. I guess it wasn't a real Vesta. I can't believe that Vesta got upset because I was giving Mike Howard this much credit for the notice to appeal, the affidavit, giving it to the new appeal team, and today for testifying. Y'all, let's remember what the no guilty boys said about Mike Howard not testifying. They said, nah, they don't think Mike Howard go testify. The Wilkerson didn't, but the other one said, I think Mike Howard will testify. He wrote the affidavit. Y'all, Mike Howard is on the stands after 3 hours, 4 minutes ago, y'all. Now, you saw that the courthouse is closed. The courthouse closed at 4:30. They're still in 4:30 there, 5:30 here. Y'all, 2 hours later, they're still in the courthouse. Mike Howard is still on the stand. This is happening real time. Vestas, let me go to the chat. Vesta, I probably can't read it all because I need to go get some water. But honey, when I start reading this about, oh, you say he was a stalker. Greg, are you still in here? Greg, are you still in here? You see, you took half of what the article said. Matter of fact, that article was biased. What do you have to say now? What do you have to say now? Greg, are you still in here? Karmelo Anthony girlfriend reports for stalking behaviors. Trolls, are y'all still in here? The article, the New York Post, only gave you half of what Mike Howard said 2 hours ago. They didn't tell you the but. They didn't tell y'all the but to all of the trolls. They didn't tell them the but, y'all. They didn't tell them the but. They didn't tell them the but. God, I'm loving this. They didn't tell them the but. They didn't tell the trolls the but. They clickbait the trolls. They clickbait the trolls. The news articles are clickbaiting the trolls. Y'all, if Karmelo Anthony don't walk out, release with conditions after this. If he don't do it tonight, he should do it definitely tomorrow. If he don't do it tomorrow, he definitely should do it next week. What? And the news articles are baiting the trolls because they know the trolls are going to click on any headline that makes Karmelo Anthony demify him in a way. But the news articles are not giving the trolls the butt. Why you keep jumping like this, y'all? It's not me. They must be doing updates. Hold on, let me just get it right here. Matter of fact, if I got to keep it somewhere, y'all, we don't miss. Oh, what is this? Oh, we could have been. Oh my gosh. What is this? Don't jump. Is it up? Y'all, it must be updating. Oh gosh, hold on. Oh, it must be updating. Hold on. What were they saying 6 hours ago? Y'all, we could have been laxed in, but that's okay. We found it at the right time, Hold on, 10 more. Okay, let me highlight it so it don't jump. Why did Karmelo Anthony bring Bloom to the track meet? Prosecution Bill Whiskey admitted during his opening statement there was a gentleman's agreement. Oh gosh. It's updating, y'all. Hold on, let me take a screenshot real quick. I know how to fix this. Let me get a screenshot real quick. Let's do this real quick. Hold on. Now, if it jumps, why did Karmelo Anthony bring a blank to the track meet? Prosecutor Bill Whiskey admitted during his opening statements there was a gentleman's agreement with the defense. He said Toby Shook, who was Karmelo Anthony's lead attorney during the trial, is one of his close friends. Y'all, this aligns to what legal. Let me see if she on. She probably ain't on because they still in the courthouse, y'all. They still in the courthouse. Let me go to her channel. Legal Doc. Y'all. Oh my goodness. Look at God. Y'all, we ain't had to wait. We ain't even had to wait 24 hours. We getting the information now. Ain't waiting, y'all. She ain't came out. They don't know, y'all. They don't know. That man is going down. They don't know that Mike Howard is still on the stands. Let me go ahead and she don't know Mike Howard still on the stands, y'all. Hold on. Let me go back here. It says, why did Karmelo Anthony bring a blank to a track meet? Whiskey said in court. He explains that the morning of the blank word, Anthony ex-girlfriend went to the assistant principal. Y'all, we had already this earlier. Whiskey talked about the text messages found in Anthony's phone. Among that, Anthony sent a blank, blank, blank. I'm a low-key on Verge. Whiskey said Anthony had a documented pattern of suspicion. Oh God, no, he didn't. He had a juvenile history of not keeping his hands to himself. Metcalf also had a juvenile case where he put graffiti that was a racial charge. But see, hold on. So it didn't come out about the history. Oh, because Mike Howard is not talking 6 hours ago. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. So I see where it's going. So we starting from the bottom. Hold on. But oh gosh, Mike Howard dropped nuggets. Hold on. What else? What else was back here? Lunch break, the court. Ooh. Prosecutor Bill Whiskey told Judge Michael Shitty they was, oh gosh. It's just loading, y'all. And it's a live, it must be a live, what do I want to call it? A live, oh gosh, I can't put the word with it. It's like a live, it's always updating. It's always checking for updates. It's like a live, I don't want to call it the transcript, but it's like a live feed going on. Mike Howard take the stands. What he said? Giving the employees according to how to report. Okay, yeah. Jackson prosecution. She was talking about Jack. Let's see here. Whoo, y'all. Karmelo, not decision. What else was talking about? Prosecutor. Oh, opening statement. So opening statements. 7 hours and 19 minutes ago, and they still in the courtroom. They're still in the courtroom. Let me see. Let me see if I can just. So I know it starts with the prosecution open statement, but it should have been a defense opening statements too. So y'all, this is actually like a motion for a new trial is actually like a real trial. Defense opening statements, got it. 40 exhibits to be admitted into evidence. What? Defense attorney Russell Wilson said he plans to. God dang it! Oh, they can do exhibit. God. Let me do a screenshot. Let me bring it up one more time. Because it's so far back, it wants to. Here we go. Let me do a screenshot real quick. Come on. Bam. 40 exhibits to be admitted into evidence. Defense attorney Russell Wilson said he plans to admit 40 exhibits. Whoo, that's a full day. Into evidence. Wilson said the evidence will show several off-the-record proceedings in this case. He claimed trial judge John Roach ran a shadow docket that was not public at all, and that violates several constitutional provisions, including the right to be present. Wilson said the only time Karmelo... What? Wilson says the only time Karmelo Anthony appeared in court after bond out of jail was the jury selection. 12 witnesses are 12 witnesses? Oh, y'all, I think this is going to go on for a second day. Unless 12 witnesses are expected to be called in motion for a new trial. Some may not appear in person. Okay. Over Zoom. Their sworn affidavits may be submitted on their behalf. Okay. I could take that. But if Mike Howard has been on the stands for 3 hours, Mike Howard should be the last witness. Okay. Oh my gosh. I want to read the prosecution closing opening statements because he's been lying this whole time. He set this whole thing up. Oh, that's it? Hold on. God darn it, let me catch it. God. So y'all, if it keeps jumping, y'all just go to your phone with a Fox News and go to the article. Don't jump. Yeah. Okay, lead prosecutor Bill Whiskey was up next. He said a paper file was kept in this case, but was not all uploaded due to the... get out of here. He talked about Austin Metcalf mom and other being doxxed. What about the Karmelo Anthony family? Meaning that private information was shared on the internet so that others could harass and threaten them. Who want to harass the Metcalfs? Whiskey said social media influence. Are you serious? Whiskey said social media influencers monetize misinformation and there was a threatening environment. Yeah, it was a lot of white supremacists outside of the courtroom. Lawyers on both sides worry about their safety. I could agree, but I don't know about Karmelo Anthony supporters. We ain't violent. He claimed the reason Anthony wasn't brought into court. Do y'all see what this says? Karmelo Anthony was not even in the courthouse. His own trial routinely was due to the threat environment. He said the original defense team knew that and was in agreement, but the new defense team is now making an issue out of it. This is what Whiskey said. But then Whiskey said Karmelo Anthony did not even attend his own trial. Do y'all see how I said the prosecution be telling on their own self and oh Lord, painting the light on everything? Whiskey said the plan. So hold on. Once again, if Bill Whiskey is always telling on himself, because this is the first time I heard that Karmelo Anthony was not present in his own trial. If Bill Whiskey is telling on himself, how do y'all feel now about the impalement theory when he said that he didn't want the statements from the defense attorney to put in the minds to the jury that Austin Metcalf impaled himself on Karmelo Anthony's weapon? How do y'all feel about that now? Whiskey said the plan during the original trial was to go old school, keep a paper file, not even a digital file, and limit the defendant's appearance. Who do they think we are? Because everybody wanted a safe trial. And you know what? All the stuff we did worked. Y'all, I have an issue with this. How many of y'all had wanted to keep paper and accidentally misplaced paper? We in 2026. Everything should be digitized. What are we talking about? Let me see if there's been any updates. This actually is live. That's why it's jumping. So right now, it is okay. So the last time it's been updated was 5:55 Central Time, which is 6:55 Eastern Standard Time. So the last time it was updated 10 minutes ago. Let's see. 8 minutes ago. Done for the day, y'all. Oh my gosh, we got day two. The Karmelo Anthony former defense attorney was excused, and the judge declared that court is done for the day. It will resume tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. Toby Shook, another one of Anthony's former defense attorney, is expected to testify. Oh, this about to be good. This about to be good. This about to be good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The judge asked attorneys how much they have left. Oh, they asked to discuss that in his chambers. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. At the starting of the hearing, defense attorney Russell said he planned to call 12 witnesses. So far, he's only called 2. Y'all, this thing could go into Saturday because they got all the way up till Sunday, which is the 75th day. Y'all, we got, oh my gosh, day one, y'all. Breaking news. Tomorrow. I work tomorrow, but I'm going to come back. Let's say after 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to pick it up tomorrow about 1 or 2 o'clock. By then, it should be over. But this is the website. www. Hold on, let me put it in here. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is the website here throughout the day, because I will not be on live, but I'm going to come online after lunch, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Listen, look, the 3 videos I put up, they're mudslinging in there. They said, like, they're trying to make like a situation where Karmelo broke up with a girl, which was 2 years prior to this. So I apologize to the girl he currently go with, because they're like, you know how you someone say, he said he'll lick the blood out something. He was getting jumped, and it was a lot of mess going on. They're not giving us substance on what in the heck they mean about certain things, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I just like to see where this go. They didn't, and also they're saying said that they didn't let Karmelo Anthony. Y'all, this is gonna go over to tomorrow. I'm just keeping it a book. They up in there throwing down like it's nothing. And from what I'm hearing, the prosecution said, they saying, bottom line, this is summing it up. We didn't follow law. We were just trying to protect Karmelo Anthony and what he had on his phone. Okay, 2 years prior, a adolescent child, blah, blah, blah. Say when he was young, he had to go to a center because he couldn't keep his hands stiff. I guess he used to fight a lot or whatever. But okay, how do you get to a point where you can change your life and you still get hunted by things you possibly did when you really didn't know all that better? You still learning and growing and still don't know the full. You understand consequences to a certain extent, but young people try. You got to have kids to understand the shit. You know what I mean? So they talked about the Metcalfs them being to arrested just as well for racial profiling. Obviously you say probably making up stuff. Yeah, it's everything is alleged. It's what the prosecution is putting out there. Not saying that it's real or not, but they said the prosecution is like mudslinging, trying to muddy his name. But I'm like, well, what the hell they got to do with somebody approaching him and he decided he going to 9 o'clock him and send him to Jacob's bosom? Like it's like he did not approach them. So I'm confused. But the man Mike Howard is saying he just didn't see 10, 20 minutes to prepare him what he should and should not say. They said that they didn't protect the agreement, didn't protect his testimony. And the judge did that on purpose, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I just believe they did everything. They were calculated about everything that they were doing, regardless of what you say he is and what he was. Guess what? It is that day does not merit whatever he done in the past. That's just how I feel and whatnot. And I'd be glad. 35 years is long effing time. I mean, you could have even got that to manslaughter. He went looking for somebody when he asked to be under a tent, talking to somebody. That like these people is just messing with our brains at this point. They know how to paper genocide us. They know how to put stuff in our ear versus what we see in reality and make us believe what they tell us versus what we see at this point. I done learned the game. Well, I've been learned it. It's just everybody else got to catch up on the shit. You know what I mean? So they said that they in the courtroom tearing it down. You feel me? They fighting for their life not to get this new trial. They get this new trial, it's going to be on. Because he has a defense team that's going to dig and dig and dig. They going to probably dig up most stuff that we didn't even know about. So I pray that he gets a new trial. I pray that this young boy be able to get out, start school, go do the things he needs to do, get his life together, and whatnot. Amen. You're the only people forgive people is black people. And when we stop forgiving people, I'm sorry, you guys get mad. When we stop forgiving everybody, that's when we're going to be able to grow and be able to have things and move on with life. They make us forgive people. They didn't train our young generations and us to forgive everybody, allow them to abuse us, forgive them, but you won't forgive your sister, you won't forgive your brother, you disassociate yourself from the family, but somebody could have did you something vile. But I promise you, I understand, I understand you won't do it again, but it'll be your family. All you is here black men, and I'm quote unquote women too, but mostly black men that's supposed to be leading, right? It's good to be apart from your family. You know why it's good? They trained you that way so your village won't come and play. So when something happened to you so alone, you stressed out mentally not stable, you unalive yourself. That is not good. Do I deal with my family? I don't, but I love them. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. When something is wrong, someone is reaching out. You know what I mean? Even people I grew up with, they were like, well, Eric, something don't sound right. Let's have a conversation. And we'll talk, laugh, cry, whatever it is. They want you not to be bothered with people that look like you. They done taught us how to beat each other up. Oh, you got to be accountable for what you just did. No other race do it. And it's no disrespect to nobody else. No other race do all this. We the only race that always talk about. What's that word they talk about? What is the word? Because I told somebody yesterday, please stop saying that to me. Because we the only people that say that accountability word or oh my God, I forgot the other word. Yeah, it's gonna come to my brain. Because somebody kept talking this word over and over and over, and it just went into my mental block. It's blocked right now. But they kept saying, I said, we the only people that do this shit. Like no one else talk like we talk. Thank you for coming. And you're right, the past is the past. He's gonna get a new trial. Yes, I'm gonna claim that. And you know what I hate? These MFers online. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I'd have been up this road, and they ain't gonna go like that, because you did it. You intentionally did it and kept doing it, nigga. That's why you on the internet talking about your experiences. I hate when we talk about our experiences and lay it on somebody else. Our tongue is the most powerful thing on our body. And until we understand, even if he did something, people on other races know they've been and done something, but will protect that at all costs. We will deal with that internally. It's just, oh my God, y'all. It's so annoying at this point. That accountability word get on my damn nerves. I don't hear nobody else say it but us. Nobody say it but us. We always talk about accountability. Accountability for what? I don't owe you shit.
Here is the website to keep track. Man, he only went through 2 witnesses, y'all. 2 witnesses out of 12
got 10
witnesses,
more.
y'all.
10 more.
This is a battle. You know what? If I was the judge,
I have a headache.
If I was the judge, this is me. If I was the judge, and y'all, let me see here. It's 7:06. I'm gonna go back 30 minutes, and I'm gonna read all of the comments from 30 minutes back, and then we're gonna have a cutoff. Hey, thank you so much. Y'all didn't have to do this. I'm doing this from my heart, but thank you, B. If I was the judge, based off everything I've heard, now I am going to do this. I'm going to do this for all of the trolls and all the people, so y'all know.
Hold up, y'all. I got to follow this lady. I like her. I'm going to go back to her live. She's reading stuff.
Thank you for being in here. Jeff Metcalf is sick, puppy, and racist. Jeff, who do you think you are? You don't deserve to be looked at. Facts. Who are now?
Y'all,
if the daddy has that type of
hold up, y'all. They said the daddy came in there, checked, like looking people up and down, sizing them up. They too bold. They didn't got so bold, y'all. When I was coming up at school, y'all can get mad all y'all want. They ain't nobody ever called me a nigga a day in their life, and nobody at that school got called niggas. All these words that they talking about because we old. This is what they do, old people, so they can keep them in this little box, so you can vote the way they want you to vote. You could do all this stuff. I ain't never in my life been called one. And that's why I tell them I'm not going to be mad with somebody who ain't never talked about me. All this stuff we see on the TV, that's TV. I ain't never in my life, I'm dark skinned, never been deprived of a relationship, never been nothing. Nothing. And I'm not being real. The first person that ever called me out name was somebody in my family. You feel me? First person ever said something to me to break my heart was somebody in my family, nobody outside my family. But did I learn how to defend myself? Absolutely. Absolutely, I learned how to defend myself. And that came from family. I went to a predominantly white school. It ended up being more blacks than whites, but it was in a white, area. But guess what? Nobody will call us the N-word. No, matter of fact, no one ever called us out our name. We was cool with one another. We was chill. Like I learned this stuff dealing with life. Like once you get out of school and you get off in the free world, did everybody become divided? Everybody. But
gall to want people looking at him. You don't think Austin and Hunter had the same type of mentality? What did Mike Howard say? Mike Howard said, what? Mike Howard said,
they have
in
given
all
y'all
context of these incidences, it showed general aggression and demeaning acts towards blacks. Howard said the history of the twin brothers acting in concert with each other was relevant to what Anthony would have felt in that moment. Nancy Grace, ooh wee, the text message is hurting him. What the F? We can get a win with this new trial. Easy. We just need to try to get his sentence reduced. Now we go get this new trial. Now we go get this new trial. Oh no, after all the stuff that's coming out, no, we're gonna get
Wait a minute. They talking about we're trying to get the sentence reduced. No, we're trying to get a overturn on conviction. These boys approached him. Everybody in Texas have the same laws as Florida when it comes down to protecting your space. If it's an element threat, they use certain words to make like he thought of it on the spur of the moment. He orchestrated when they walked up to him. See, if he like, I would have even like, okay, they gave manslaughter. Murder what? Man, come on, bro. Murder? Bro, that man did not think to come and I'm gonna go F some white boys up that's 200 and something pounds a piece soaking wet. And again gets surrounded by 4 of them. Oh, it's coming out. It's gonna go down. Ain't nobody trying to get no, not me. I ain't trying to get no, we ain't trying to do none of that. We want him out. I want him out. Listen, when they done, them boys that sitting on that stand was lying on their behalf. Y'all just put a link if y'all wanted to join the live, okay? Those boys that whatever friendship or whatever they got going on over there, I hope none of them, if they lied, they not be able to perspired in no type of way. I say perspired, but be able to I can't even say the damn word. Damn, what's wrong with me? They be able to grow, have a growth, be able to do the things that they wanted to do. How long Karmelo been locked up? What, 6 months? He got convicted in what? This year. I think it's under 6 months. I just think that he just need to come home. This man called this man watermelon felon. These people is crazy.
This new trial, hey, you know, hey, y'all investors, we get to go to bed early tonight. We're going to bed in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Woo! You are truly appreciated. God in you always shining. I'm surprised my tongue has not failed out of my mouth talking for 6 hours straight. So why can't we see the receipts of the text? Lying ass DA, everything they said is supposed to be written right. And they said written file, a paper file. What? Jeff looks sick. Imagine what it looks like yesterday. That's where they learn it from. Come with it. What kind of parents were they that they allowed their children to be violent even at the age of 10? Y'all see this? Even at the age of 10, there was a report of an assault of a female student in 2024. And when the twins were 10 years old, they were accused of frequently targeting a specific female classmate. I'm going to say black. She ended up with the hospital with a shoulder trauma after Hunter, the other twin, allegedly pushed her. What is wrong with these twins pushing people? They pushed a girl so hard, she ended up in the hospital at the age of 10 with shoulder trauma. So if they pushed Karmelo Anthony, they definitely could have beat him alive, unaliving him. The moms are still here with you. What's up, Mita Lee? Ooh.
They claim that he broke his daddy's shoulder. So, come on, bro.
Ooh, Nancy, bring your behind to the front of the class. Come on with it. You've been drilling them how to be. Yes, great job, Tony. Thank you, Nikki Knight. Ooh, Nancy is a disgrace with a slow behind. Ooh, amen. You welcome to 72 days. The Vestas have been with me here. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. The dream, he only got through 2 today. Whew. Nancy needs to apologize to Karmelo. Amen. Tony, thank you. You are awesome. Thank y'all. Y'all been with me since day 10, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Suck man with Offer Kids and an Emmy. Ooh, did you say it? And the Emmy goes to, don't forget Megan. She deserved her award also. Y'all, they've been playing in white. America face what is white America doing right now, knowing that this stuff came out? And this website here, this is Dallas. This is Collins County. This is Allen McKinney. This is one of their websites. What is white America in Texas is about to do tonight when they found out they have supported racist bullies that beat up on girls?
Nothing.
And there's a
Nothing.
history.
Nothing.
They'll put a girl in the hospital when they was 10 years old. Yo. And in Hunter, both Austin and Hunter was accused of, what is wrong with them always want to jump on cheerleaders? Megan, you need to come back. You need to come back to the stage and definitely give an account for your sons. But look at this. Austin was banned. Was it Austin or Hunter that was banned from a teacher class? Hunter was reportedly banned from a teacher classroom on the day before the S word, right? And then look at Austin. Austin, let's see. Austin also reported to use the N-word in a conversation with his brother about Eddie Para. Keep going. And then he used the N-word in a Snapchat group chat on the day before the S-word, his own other living. He still was messing with people. Coach told Austin and other shot putters they would not be able to attend the track meet because they got in trouble on March the 22nd. So the coach, if you wouldn't have been playing these games with Austin, all the other these bullies, Austin may have been here or he may not have been here.
Would have been.
But because
I will say this, if something would have happened to him, wouldn't happen to him at that track meet. Because you know why? The coach should have stood on business for what he did instead of allowing them to come there. And who knows? They may have strong arm coming there anyway, even when the coach told them they couldn't even come. Because remember, it's an open event, I believe.
You said it was a threat to get their attention. The joke is on you. 2 weeks later, Austin met his match, Karmelo Anthony, and Karmelo Anthony stood his ground. After this whole entire history of the Metcalf twins terrorizing, beating up, and demeaning blacks. That's how Mike Howard said it. So that meant black boys and black girls too. Whew. Hopefully for the good. Hunter, broke your shoulder, right, Jeff? Thanks, Tony. Yes. Let me get some water. Try to stay. He ain't staying sober. Not this information that came out. Oh, Jeff is drinking himself under the house right now. This information that came out, and we already had a hint of some Metcalfs being in here today, y'all. Thank you for your membership. I love Miss Tony. You can just feel she has a good spirit and care about what she does. Mel, don't tell the secret. Don't tell the secret, Mel. Don't tell the secret. That's what I'm.
Shout out to X. Shout out to Facebook, Gossip Column, Erica Trinell, my regular page. And also shout out to what that is, YouTube. Shout out to you guys. This is crazy, y'all. They say they have a history of assaulting, I don't know if it's black or whatever, but I'm just going to say girls, period. Because I don't care what your race is. No man should be assaulting girls. They just shouldn't be doing that.
Trolls think they can come over here and act crazy. Miss Tony, you're the best. Thank y'all. Y'all besters are the best. Y'all besters are the best. Look at Scar's line. What he said. Lord have mercy. Gonna throw the towel. Listen, I'm team Karmelo, but this text message is thanks to all the new members. Come on with it. Be careful what you're saying. Just saying you are being recorded by me. You think I'm scared? What I need to be scared for?
Y'all, they so bullies.
What do I need to be?
Girl, they try to act like they're like, I don't even know who acted like that because I'm like in my 50s. This shit that they doing to y'all like right now, they didn't do that shit back then. I'm just being so honest. Like threatening who? Man, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know what will happen. Like all this bull crap that's going on now, all this bull crap lying like we were slaves and we wasn't. These Africans playing games and stuff. Man, listen, we wasn't slaves. We was not slaves. And none of these people did all that stuff in the 60s and 90s like they're talking about. Did they economically try to flush us out? Yeah. But guess what happened? The Louisiana women, the Virginia women, we all gathered. That's who they studied Project 2025. The women, not the men. They studied the woman, the black woman from Virginia and Louisiana, where I'm from. Y'all gotta, man, y'all better start reading them tablets. Don't read what these people telling y'all. Yeah.
Make sure you get my best angles. Now, don't do me wrong. Don't do me wrong. Make sure you get my best angles. Why do you think we are nervous about being recorded? And who are you? You're nobody in my book. It's a live screen. You can record all you want to, but I just say, be fair. Get my best angles. Don't do me like that. I've been up here for 72 days fighting for Karmelo Anthony. Don't do me like that. Don't do it now. Get my best side. Record it. You really record it by me. I don't care.
Hold up, I gotta see.
Hold on, y'all, so y'all can see this. Hold on. Who in the world opened up the womb? What? Did somebody open up the womb? Come on, here we go. This is where I'm at. So in this document where I am kind of drawing an overshaped effect, depending on where the person is hit at, the wound can be more of a slit like where the edges are close together. In this case, he was hit in the chest, breaking the lining, and fibrous tissues underneath our skin causes separation of those margins. So instead of the margins being close together, as in a slit-like defect, the margins were more pulled apart and given more of a gaping, oval-shaped defect in the center of his chest. Who pulled with a knife, pull the margins further apart and give it more of a gaping? Y'all, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just reading what the doctor is saying. Let me keep going. And that has to do with just the fibrous tissues underneath the chest area, causing the stress and the tension of the skin fibers to be pulled further apart. Who in the... Okay. I didn't know a stab wound pulls the skin apart. So in layman's term, the same knife can make two different types of wounds. Was Austin Metcalf given chest compressions by the coach when Austin was unconscious at the time? You can hear Austin choking on his... Ooh, y'all. What if somebody did something wrong at the scenes and... I ain't gonna say that. Oh, I ain't gonna say that. Let's keep going. So in layman's term, the same wound can make the two different types. Oh gosh, hold on. Let me share my screen. Because I like to share. Hold on. Okay, it's back up. So in layman's terms, thank you for that, baby girl. How you doing, baby girl? So and yo just happened to pop up in here. Hold on. In fact, Karmelo Anthony would need a hammer to drive that 3-inch knife. Come on, that's what I'm saying. But do y'all remember, right? The prosecution, he was trying to discount this medical examiner's what was it called? Impalement theory. Remember, it came out and we was talks before we started getting into these documents that Austin body's weight, he failed on it. So remember, the prosecution also talked about the impalement theory, which is why I'm reading her testimony, because I want her to see. You're right. Karmelo Anthony at 130, hey, the prosecution already called him a magician by how swift he moves. You're right. Karmelo Anthony would have to be a magician and also have the power of a he-man to deliver this force. No. I think the medical examiner, which the prosecution didn't like, was the impalement theory that Austin impaled himself on the weapon. Let's keep going. Come on with it, y'all. Hold on. But I agree with you. Karmelo Anthony, hold on. Karmelo Anthony would need a hammer to drive that 3-inch. And guess what? Karmelo Anthony, it only went in 2 inches, 2.5 inches, right? 2 inches. But I got you. Hold on. Was the knife stuck in the food? But hold on. What she say? Was the knife stuck in, but the foods removed it? Oh, he failed on it. Come on with it. So he was conscious. Yes. You don't do. That's what I'm saying. Something happened. That's what I'm saying. Which would be 213 pounds of pressure. You got it. That's why the prosecution did not like the impalement theory. Yes, because if he was breathing and the idiots turned on the AD, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. They did something at the scenes. Or he fell on it. Let's keep reading. Okay, so in layman's terms, the same knife can make 2 different types of wound on the body, a gaping or a split, depending on the layer of elasticity in the human body. Okay, she says, yes, correct. I believe those are called Langer's lines. Is that right, doctor? She says, yes. Okay, next question. You don't like when I use that term, do you? She said, no, it's just blank. If I am explaining it to somebody, it is better to kind of describe it. Okay. It always makes you smile when I say that to you, does it? Oh, are you flirting with the medical examiner? It always makes you smile when I say that to you, doesn't it? Langer's lines. That is, oh gosh. Okay. I just want to bring it up. In the path of the womb, again, I think we see it in your notes. I think you mentioned it once. It's through the cartilage of the sternum. She said yes. And then it penetrates the hardware. She answered. So it penetrates the heart in the right ventricle, and it completely went through the heart walls. It ain't no 213 pounds of pressure. That's what I think we finna go to. Okay. And in addition to the 2D body diagram like this, the photographs are taken. She says, yes. And do you remember me coming over and meeting with you? It may have been 2 months ago now, and going through everything about this case, but specifically the photographs. They sure got a tight relationship, but maybe that's just protocol. But the prosecutor going to meet with the medical examiner, maybe it's protocol, y'all. Maybe it's protocol. Maybe we I don't know. Hey, if y'all know in the chat, because it seems like we have a very diverse and an intelligent community over here at Tony Talks Vested Up Compelling Sports Edge, let me know if it's common for the prosecutor or the defense to go talk to the medical examiner about the autopsy, the photographs. Let me know. He's trying to be cute. Okay. The quality of BCLS. Oh, what's up, Bunny? We talking your language tonight. CPR and use of manual clamps for continuous compressions did further damage affecting wound opening. I wasn't expecting that at that time. And y'all know I normally don't read comments doing a live. I guess tonight it's about that time. You said, yes, prosecutor, do meet with medical examiners to get an understanding of what they're looking at. Okay. Vonnie, what's up, Vonnie? When the ambulance arrived and it admitted that they had given CPR and has done chest compressions on him. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that would scratch. Oh, so, well, let's keep reading because maybe she is going to go into that, what could cause the wound to scratch open, because now I can see that if they doing chest compressions, yes, it's doing this right here. Okay, so that's why they brought up the elastic seat. Where is it? I know I just saw that word, elasticity. Hold on, I ain't crazy now. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Depending on the layers of elasticity in the human body. Come on with it, y'all. We go get through this together. Okay. Yes, and then it penetrated the heart. So it penetrates the heart right in the middle vertical. Okay, we talked about that. The photographs, yes. The womb, the jury has just seen the womb you described. Is it survivable? She says no. I believe you told me that the only way to survive a womb like that, to be part of the heart, is to have it pre-sutured, correct? She said yes. Basically, what does that mean? He would have to be on an operating table with his chest open, with a surgeon over him ready to suture the heart. And even then, it may not work, correct? She says correct. And did you find signs of internal bleeding? She says, yes. Let me show you. When we visited, I think I showed you the actual boot poker that was recovered in the case. Do you remember that? She says, yes. Let me show you what's in for demonstrative purposes only as state 88. And I will represent to you. I don't know if you remember, but this is an exact, y'all, here you go. So they did bring, I don't know if you remember, but this is an exact duplicate of the knife I showed you earlier, the actual knife, a duplicate of the knife. She says, yes. Is this type of knife and a type of blade capable of making the wounds you observed? She says, yes. Okay, it is blank. Nothing inconsistent with the blade and the wound. No, inconsistently. Complete consistent, yes. And is a knife like this considered a deadly weapon in the state of Texas? She says yes. And we also have some legal terms you are familiar with the legal term of act clearly dangerous to human life. Yes. Is stabbing someone with a knife like this in the region of the womb you observe, is that an act clearly dangerous under Texas law? She says yes. Let me pause. Now this is the medical examiner's, Dr. Elizabeth Ventura's testimony on the oath. Keep this in mind. Also keep in mind, if you saw last night live, all of the officers said that the Leatherman or the tool or whatever Karmelo Anthony had was legal. So what are they talking about? So are they talking about the knife that the other person had? Let me keep going. Because I think Jane right here, I'm still looking to see where the medical examiner talked about the two wounds. Mike Howard talked about the two wounds in closing arguments. Did she forget that part of Mike Howard's closing arguments? I think the prosecution also mentioned two wounds, but I could be mistaken. But I'm looking for the two wounds entry. But I know that even Mike Howard said the officers said that whatever Karmelo Anthony had was legal. The prosecution didn't say that it was a legal tool or whatever he had either. He just said it was improper for him to have it at the stadium, but it was legal in the state of Texas. So what they're talking about another weapon, y'all. They're talking about another weapon. But let me keep reading. I'm just thinking while we go through this whole entire transcript. And a knife like this is consistently deadly weapon in Texas. Y'all, they talking about another weapon here. Is stabbing someone with a knife like this in the region of the womb you observe, is that an act clearly dangerous under Texas law? Yes. Finally, let me finish up with just two questions for the record. The official cause of death of Austin Metcalf was what? The results of the stab wound to the chest. Okay. And the manner of death in this case was what, doctor? Homicide. Mr. Wiki, I pass the witness. Hang on, Mr. Shook. It is on. I think so. Yes, it is, sir. Thank you. Cross-examination. Now we're going to get into the cross-examination because, hold on, something is missing from this because the prosecution, and if I have to pull up number 8, I'll pull up volume 8 again. Matter of fact, hold on. let me pull up volume 8 because it was the prosecution that talked about the impalement theory from the medical examiner. And I still haven't seen it. Let me see here. I'm gonna keep going, but please somebody remind me to bring up volume 8 again, because the prosecution didn't like the fact that the Dr. Ventura brought up the impalement theory. Oh, we finna go through this. Hold on. Let's see here. Here go cross-examination by Mr. Shook. I have a few questions for you, Dr. Ventura. In your reports and in the drawing, if I could see, is that over here? You listed the wound being oblongly oriented? Yes. Can you explain, and I believe you said from left superior to right inferior. Could you explain to the jury what you meant by that? Yes. So, and you're right. You are so right. Who said that? Freeze, Marcelo Jackson. Now knowing what the agreement was behind the scene, all this was performative. Now, I don't know if the medical examiner was on it, but we know that the prosecution, Shook, Mike Howard, and the judge had a secret agreement going on behind the scenes. So they was just really just playing the roles of, now, I don't know about the medical examiner, but I'm just saying everybody else, when they want to do a cross-examination, they playing their part. But let's keep going. Could you explain to the jury what you meant by that? Yes. So the point of the body to the left side of the body on the diagram is a little bit higher position on the body. Okay, hold on. Let's see. This side, yes. So that is the superior angle of the defect. It is higher up from the head, and the opposite side of it is more inferior. So it is just giving a description that the wound did not enter the body horizontally. Hold on. So it's just giving a description that the wound did not enter the body horizontally, completely horizontally, or completely vertical. It has a little bit of an angle on it. So that is the picture I showed you. And obviously in your career, have you seen all different type of angles where the knife wounds penetrates body? She says yes. With this, is it where the cartilage of the sternum comes together with the ribs? She says yes. Okay. Did it go through bone or just part of the cartilage? The cartilage. Is that near the sternum? She says yes. You estimated it is exactly the depth of 2.5 inches from penetration of the wound. Is that as best as you can get? She says yes, it is approximated. Okay. Do you feel it is pretty accurate though? She says yes. As far as sometimes you get asked questions about how much force was used to cause an S wound, do you not? She says yes. Do you have a way of measuring force for a knife wound? She says no. Keep that in mind. Okay. Obviously, a stab wound to the skull or something would be redacted. You need a whole lot of force for that. I think we're finna go there, y'all. Correct. One indication would be if you know, or if the police, let's say, know the weapon, they are in possession of the weapon that caused it. In the case of blank, let's just say you have 4 inches depth stab wound, but the weapon that caused the wound is only 2 inches in length. Does that indicate a lot of force was used to cause a particular wound knife? She says yes. It could mean that the person pressed down. Oh, here we go, y'all. Yes, it does mean that the person, yes, it could mean that the person pressed down on the body in order to make it go deeper inside the body than the length of the blade. Okay, let's keep going. And do you see that sometimes in chest rooms, she said, yes, sir. It is because if somebody was blank, used a lot of force to make a stab, it can push the ribs and the body down, which causes the knife to go deeper in the body with great length. Hold on, let's pause. Hey, I think she about to go into the impalement case. If not, this would have been the perfect time to go into the impalement case, because we all saw that when Karmelo allegedly hit Austin in the chest, he ran away. Karmelo Anthony did not stand on top of Austin and push it down and put pressure on it. Just let me keep going. Do you see that sometimes in church rooms? Yes, sir. Is that because if somebody was using a lot of force to make a blank, it can push the ribs and the body down, which causes the knife to go deeper into the body at greater length? Correct. And that would be an indicator of a greater force. Correct. In this case, the knife in question has been measured at 3.5 inches for the blade. And your best approximation is that 2.5 inches of depth for the room. Yes, that is approximation. Okay. And so this isn't the situation that we just talked about. Oh, look. So this is Mr. Shook. He said, okay. And this isn't the situation we just talked about, where you see it is a clear indicator of a lot more force, where the blade goes longer than the wound, goes longer than what the actual blade is. Yes, that is possible. Okay. And you said, I believe, you couldn't tell which side of the edges of the wound, which side of the blade redacted caused the injury. Correct. Because they were both described as sharp. When you finally find, or your findings were, it was front to back, is that an indicator that the knife was straight in and out? Answer. It is an indicator that when it entered the body, it only it only went front to back. It only went front to back. Wait. Hold on. No. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this right. So, question, Mr. Shook said, you have seen different blanks, different kinds of knife injuries in autopsies over the years, where you say you could see them being lateral, or you can see how they cut through the body depending on how the person may be swinging the knife or striking a body. Yes. In this case, when you finally find, or your findings were, in this case, when you finally find, or your findings were, it was front to back, is that an indicator that the knife was straight in and out, straight in and then out? Then she answers, it is an indication that when it entered the body, it only went front to back. It went front to back. It only went front to back. It didn't go in and out. It went front to back. Y'all got to explain to me in the chat, what does it mean, front to back? How does a knife go front to back? Front to back. Okay, okay. You have seen also bodies that have come in that a person died from a poker wound, and there may be many knife wounds on the body. She says correct. Let's keep going then. Let's keep going then. Have you seen bodies where there are penetration wounds that cause death, but also slashings on the arms and the hands and things like that? She says yes. But in this case, it was one single knife wound that went front to back. Knife go front to back. Front to back. Correct. Can you tell the jury how much force was used to cause that knife? She says, no, I can't, because she said earlier she couldn't. So I'm glad she stuck with it. Depending on, does that depend also on the sharpness of the blade? It could be a factor. Okay. Factor, the sharper point of the blade is the easier knife penetrated on the body. Yes. Can you tell the jury how much force was used to cause the knife? No, I can't. Does that depend also on the sharpness of the blade? It could be a factor. And how pointed the blade is? Yes, that could be a factor. The sharper blade and the sharper point of the blade, the easier the knife penetrates the body. Yes. Mr. Shook says, okay, may I approach the witness? The court says, yes, sir. I know you get asked questions like this a lot by lawyers, but could that blade, would it be consistent if the person, the victim, was standing over the victim? Hold on. Mr. Shook seemed like he did. He finna ask the right question. Hold on. I know you get asked questions like this a lot by lawyers, but would it be consistent if the person, the victim, was standing over the defendant, and if they were seated, let's say, on a bleacher in a stadium, okay, just in a seated position, and if the victim had come over in an attempt to remove him from that bench, throw him off that bench, whatever, grab that person, or push that person, or grab that person from front to the back, shoved him back, and that person was holding a knife between their legs and in the bag with their right hand, and they shove him back, the knife came out. If that person was over, this person put the knife up, could that have caused this type of injury? Y'all, hold on. Listen. It can cause the angle going front to back. Question, if the victim were over him in an angle that way, so it was straight on, the victim was over the body. I'm sorry. Come on, Jane. Hold on. The answer was the victim was over the body, or I'm sorry. The question was, yes, the victim was over the body. The defendant was sitting down, and if they reached in and grabbed him, forced him back, pulled up, could the knife, could that cause the knife? If the victim just stuck the knife, out, come on, Jane, you don't supposed to mess this up. God, what she say? Yes. Would that be consistent? Yes. There are many possibilities because the body is in constant motion, and it's hard for me to say, but yes, they are. It can be consistent with that, but my trajectory is given in the anatomic position, so it is not the position the person was in, probably where he sustained the injury. Now, this is when the defense should have told a medical examiner to stand up and let's do a scene reenactment, because Shook was on something. I think even Shook was surprised that he was about to give Karmelo Anthony the keys to get out of a free card. Hold on. I want to read this again. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Because he was getting somewhere. Shook was getting somewhere. Hold on. Shook was getting somewhere. Okay, right here. Okay, he was getting somewhere. I think even Shook surprised him and said, hold on, let me back off. Whoa, let me back off. Hold on, I'm going to get Karmelo Anthony off. I think he hit back. Let's see him. So question. Have you seen different, all kind of knife injuries in autopsies over the years? When you say you could see them being lateral, or you could see how they cut through the body, depending how the person may be swinging the knife or striking the body. She says yes. In this case, when you finally find, or your findings where it was front to back, is that an indicator where the knife was straight in and then out? She says it is an indicator that when it entered the body, it was only front to back. Okay. You have also seen bodies that have come in that a person passed away from knife wounds, and there could have been many knife wounds on the body. She says correct. Okay. You have seen bodies where there were penetrating wounds that caused death, but also slashing wounds to the arms and the hands and things like that. She says yes. Okay. But in this case, it was just one single knife wound that went front to back. She says yes. Okay. You can't tell the jury how much force was used to cause the knife sick. She said, no, I cannot. Does that depend also on the sharpness of the blade? She said it could be a factor. Then the question was, how pointed is the blade? She said, yes, that could be a factor. The sharper blade and the sharper point of the blade, the easier the knife penetrates the body. She says, yes. Okay, Mr. Shook said, okay, may I approach the witness?
Hello, you guys. Thank you for coming and sharing the live. Thank you for showing love and support. I'm new to this. I'm under 30, a little shy under 30 days doing it, but like I said, I actually watch the videos and react the same this on the same day that I show them. Okay, I don't go pre-watch anything. I don't know what's going on until well, I know a little what's going on, but I want to react with you guys. Shout out to X, shout out to Facebook, and also my Gossip column on Facebook. Shout out to you guys just as well.
Here we go, y'all. The court says, yes, sir. Question. I know you have asked. I know you get asked questions like this a lot by lawyers. But could that, redacted, would it be consistent if the person, the victim, Austin, was standing over Karmelo Anthony? If they were seated, let's just say on a stadium, on a bleacher in a stadium, okay, just in a seated position, and if the victim, which was Austin, had come over in an attempt to remove him from the bench, throw him off the bench, or whatever, grab that person or push that person or grab that person from the front to the back, shoving back, and that person was holding a knife between their legs in the bag with their right hand, or they shove them back, the knife came out. Oh, and in the bag with their right hand, and they were shoved back, and the knife came out. Oh. So at the same time, hold on. So this actually could be aligning up with Hunter said. When Hunter said, we grabbed his book bag, and then Hunter said, but it was an accident. I can't speak. What if Karmelo Anthony did have his hands in his book bag on the wound just in case when he said, don't come in, don't touch me. And what if he had it in his bag? And he still said it, and he see these 213 pounds, 230 pounds, and he got it there, but he ain't put it out yet. What if he ain't put it out yet, y'all? Watch this right here. Watch this. Karmelo is sitting down. He got his hands in the bag, but he ain't put it out yet. But he's just in case they hit me. I got it. I just got it on standby, but I ain't put it out yet. Now, Austin, remember the witnesses said that they thought that Karmelo didn't have nothing in the bag. So that means that Karmelo Anthony did not flash it. He didn't pull it out. He didn't warn nobody. They said, but they didn't think he had a weapon in the bag because Karmelo Anthony, what is that word? What is that legal word? He didn't brandish it. So that still that mean Karmelo Anthony was still thinking like, man, just go dial down. Don't be a punk. Don't let them punk you, but don't pull it out because, hey, maybe they could just be joking. Because remember the prosecution. No, remember Mike Howard said that Karmelo Anthony said he didn't know if they was joking or not. So, he would just had it ready just in case it get hot under that tent, right? Now, what if Austin, remember they kept saying Austin kept getting mad and more angry. And Karmelo Anthony still got his hands on it in his bag. Remember the prosecution kept bringing up the secret. The secret is in the bag. I said, why this man keep calling Karmelo Anthony Leatherman a secret? Oh, it was a secret because the twins didn't know he actually had something in the bag. And all the witnesses said, oh, they didn't think he really had something in the bag. Y'all, this thing is coming together. So Karmelo Anthony is sitting down, even his defense is asking the medical examiner, what if the defendant is sitting down this whole time? And then so hold on. Mr. Wilkie, no. Mr. Shook is actually telling us what happened under the tent. Even though we didn't see it in the distorted video, Shook is describing exactly what happened under the tent. Karmelo Anthony sitting there with his knife, his hand on the weapon inside the book bag. Now, Austin and Hunter said, we took his book bag. So they take his book bag at the same time. Now, if the book bag is sitting on Karmelo Anthony's lap, right, with all his personal stuff in there, it's sitting on his lap. They snatched the book bag from Karmelo, not knowing when they snatched the book bag from Karmelo, they didn't know that he had the weapon in his hands that was on his lap. And when Austin went in to grab him, Austin fell on the in a seated position. And if the victim, which is Austin, had come over in an attempt to remove him from the bench, throw him off the bench, whatever, grab that person and push that person and grab that person from the front and the back. They doing this right here. They pulling on him, not knowing that Karmelo Anthony, when they snatched off the book bag, the knife was uncovered. So Austin, he punctured his own self when he was trying to bully Karmelo Anthony and assault him under the tent. That person from the front to the back shoved him back. And when he shoved Karmelo Anthony back, his body weight came down on the knife. He didn't see it in his hands. Austin did not see it in Karmelo Anthony's hands. He didn't see it in his hands. That's why the witnesses said it seemed like it was simultaneously with the shove. Because when they pushed him back, when he shoved him back, he came forward and his body weight hit the knife. God dang. Okay. Throw him off the bench, whatever. Grab that person and push that person and grab that person from the front to the back, shoved him back. And that person was holding a knife between their legs in the bag with the right hand. And when they shoved him back, the knife came out. If that person were over the person, put the knife up, could that have caused the injury? Okay, I can explain that. It's all physics, y'all. It's all physics. Austin, you ungrab me. One twin ungrabbed the bag. The knife is revealed, but you don't see it. That's why he didn't see it, y'all, because it was too low. It was too low. And when he pushed Karmelo Anthony back, he's not paying attention what's low, right? So when he pushed him back, even though Karmelo Anthony had the knife on his lap, right? When he pushed him back, the knife by physics came up and probably hit him at the chest. But I'm going to ask the question again, is Karmelo Anthony left-handed? That still has to be a left-handed wound. And I still think somebody came over the back of Austin. But let's keep reading. But I get what he's saying. So really, Shook is telling what happened under the tent. Y'all, I know I'm having a hot flash. The knife came out, and if the person was over this person, put the knife up, could this have caused the injury? It can cause the angle going back and forth. She said it can cause the angle going back and forth instead of in and out. Basically, they just told us what happened under the tent. It can cause the angle going front to back. So if this is Mr. Shook, so if the victim was over him in an angle that way, so it was straight on, the victim was over the body. I'm sorry, come on with it. Come on, Jane. Yes, the victim was over the body. The victim was sitting down. If they reached in and grabbed him, forcefully pushed him back, pulled up, could that cause the knife? If the victim just stuck the knife, if the victim stuck the knife out, yes. That would be consistent. She says yes. There are many possibilities because the body is in constant motion. And it could be hard for me to say, but yes, there are. It can be consistent with that. But my trajectory give it in an anatomic position. So it is not a position to where a person was in, probably because when he sustained the injury. This is when they should have did a reenactment in the court.
Y'all, oh my God, this is crazy. Y'all, this is crazy. You know what I mean? It's really crazy on how, oh God. We got everybody in the building. Let's go.
Public in order to keep Karmelo safe and give him a fair trial. Worski claimed that he never agreed or talked about Melo testifying. He said that he believed the case turned out better than expected. They left things out. The defense left things out. He claimed that he did want Melo to testify, and he said it would have been the cherry on top for the prosecution. Worski also stated that he didn't prep much for this case, but he did type up this 404B statement. And he stated, either way, the gentleman's agreement was, they did held that. Damn, is that a word? Yeah, that's a word. And then he briefly spoke on the provocation portion. He said, it's all about the pretext. He said, Karmelo said, touch me and see what happens. Austin touched Melo first. Melo stabbed him. That's all he said for the provocation. All right. All right, y'all. All right. So let's go on. Now, here is the first testimony of the day. It is the former public information officer, Jackson, and Russell Wilson actually examined, how do you say this? He asked them questions. All right. Jackson talked a lot about, meetings that they had in order to get ready for the Karmelo Anthony trial. One of the meetings that he recalled was the stakeholders meetings with Bill Worski that lasted for about an hour. They talked about how to set up the rooms. I'm like, well, what rooms y'all talking about setting up? Because the overflow room wasn't dilly squat, but that's neither here nor there. In those meetings, the defense was not present, meaning Mike Howard was not present, because this is early on in the days. These are May, right? Melo was not present. Jackson, the former public information officer, also talked about creating a Google form for people, such as media, right? If you go onto the website, you could have filled out a form, and that form collected information. And one of the things on there, and I remember seeing this in an exhibit, but actually going onto the website, it asks you, about, it's like something along the lines, would you consider being in the overflow room? Something along those lines. Okay. So I'm just like, okay, y'all was prepping, right? Now he said for the overflow room, he said testing was done. He said there were 2 members from IT, including himself in the I wonder if it was the ceremonial room. And I don't know if it was the central jury room or the ceremonial room, but either room, whatever overflow room was at that time, he said that they were testing the TVs. He also mentioned that even though they were working that day, you can come back the next day and it might be an issue. Granted, it may be, you know what I'm saying? So I give him that. He was fired. I'm not even going to say dismissed. He was fired on May 13th. Russell asked him of what he thought Roach's purpose was in regards to the overflow room. Jackson stated that Roach was adamant that there wasn't going to be an overflow room. He didn't know, and Roach clearly stated that he didn't even know where that idea came from, but he knew that it was only going to be available for jury selection. Yep. So he didn't have any intentions of opening an overflow room after jury selection. And once again, we go back to the Waller finding. What did Russell say? Russell said, let the record show. So if you're not going to have an overflow room after jury selection, you need to go on record, just like Russell Schaefer did this morning, and say, hey, this is on the record. I'm not going to have an overflow room for the Karmelo, Anthony case, and you need to state a valid reason why, not a general reason, but a valid reason as to why. Thank y'all for the gifts. As to why you're not going to have an overflow room. So he was like, I don't know what people talking about, but I wasn't trying to have no overflow room after jury selection. That's what he said. Jackson also stated that, Russell stated that there was an email that was sent to Christopher King regarding scheduling of the first 4 days of trial. When that email went to Christopher, that's when shit popped off. I think he said Worski emailed him. Now all this popped off on Mother's Day, okay, or that Mother's Day weekend. Worski emailed later on, but he left him a voicemail asking about what information was sent out via the email, right? Jackson said he got lashed out. And the crazy part is, he said, but it's pretty normal. Y'all know how Worski is. We done gone over this. He said, I got a good tongue lashing out, but that's pretty normal. We know how irate Bill Worski can be. Jackson mentioned the media operations plan that was developed in the meeting with Worski and others. And Worski stated that media operations plan should not have been, the information that about the trial, it should not have been put out because that was part of the gag order. And when Judge Roach came to this knowledge that information was put out, they said he was very, very upset. So in the following days, Jackson went to work after Mother's Day or whatnot, because that's when shit hit the fan. He had a convo with Russell Schaefer, and Schaefer told him, he's like, you about to be suspended, right? Then they scheduled a meeting with Judge Roach. He said, this is what Jackson said. He said, Judge Roach gave me a tongue lashing. Y'all, 6 minutes of going off on his ass. Well, I'm going to say 4 minutes because he said after he went off on his ass for 4 minutes, 2 minutes was complete silence. And he said, I didn't know what to do. And he said, I'm not a crier, but he said he was in tears. He was crying. He said he was crying. Judge Roach sat there and told that man he was going to hold him in contempt and jail him for 6 months. And Russell Wilson asked, he's like, well, was there a motion filed for contempt? Dude was like, no. So what you scared of? And Russell asked him, he was like, well, did you believe him? He said he did. He thought he was going to be held in contempt, and he thought he was going to jail. And Russell said, well, do you think you was going to jail for 6 months? You had to think about your family and make plans. He's like, no, not for the entire 6 months, but I thought I was going to jail. Even overnight, nobody wants. The dude talked too much. He was just running his mouth, right? He didn't think that he was going to lose his job. He really thought that he can go before Judge Roach and explain, what happened. But that wasn't the case. He said, I didn't even get a word in. He didn't even get a word in. And he said that before he even went to the meeting with Judge Roach, he saw Russell Schaefer and another dude that was escorting him to Judge Roach's chambers. He said they had a manila folder. So after all of this happened, they walked his ass out and they pulled out one sheet from the motherfucking folder that had a Collin County logo and one sentence talk about you have been terminated effective immediately, expeditiously. Yeah, and I noticed that maybe he was nervous, but I was just like, dude, you gotta shut the fuck up. All right. Russell showed the gag order. And in that gag order is a section, and he highlighted, it's a section that says permitted communication. Paragraph A, procedural announcements, hearing schedules. That man did not violate that gag order because on the gag order, it clearly states that is a permitted communication. And so Russell's like, okay, so you got fired for no reason. And Russell's response is, well, the judge, he could do whatever he want to do. It's his courtroom. What?
Okay, you guys, I'm gonna come back on later. We're gonna talk about the Nolan Wells in a little bit because he had his little visual and everything. My heart goes out to his family, but I'm gonna get off right now, and we'll be back. I just wanted to see what happened with the Carmelo Anthony thing, and a lot of things are coming out. They're trying to say his character, whatever, with the woo. Obviously, the situation they're talking about was 2 years prior to that. Obviously, he did not walk up to the boy. He did not do anything. So it is what it is. Have a great day, you guys.
Looking for a K-12 education that goes beyond the textbook, right from the comfort of home? Welcome to a new standard of online learning.
Beyond general education, our students dive into specialized virtual labs for real-world job readiness. Genealogy lab, historical lab, civil law, and our media and public speaking lab.
We prepare global citizens with immersive Spanish and French language tracks. And because we're proudly Florida-based and Step Up certified, families can access the elite education through state scholarship programs.
Diverse representation, academic excellence, and career readiness, delivered entirely online, wherever you are. Secure your child's spot today. Secure your child's spot today. Visit our website to enroll.